In the heart of a remote town nestled deep within the rugged embrace of a mountain range, an unsettling secret lurked beneath the surface of everyday life. Like clockwork, every full moon brought with it a wave of inexplicable disappearances, shrouding the town in an eerie aura of fear and foreboding. The town, known as Silverwood, was a picturesque, quaint place where the passage of time had seemingly stood still. It was a place where generations of families had lived, their roots entwined with the very mountains that surrounded them. The people of Silverwood went about their daily routines with a sense of familiarity and contentment. But every month, when the full moon hung luminous and heavy in the night sky, an unspoken dread fell upon the town. The first whispers of the strange phenomenon had emerged decades ago, as Silverwood's elder residents began recounting the tales of those who had vanished under the pale glow of the full moon. The stories shared common threads, haunting similarities that painted a picture of unspeakable horror. The vanished never returned, and no trace of them was ever found. Among the most enigmatic tales was that of a young woman named Eliza. She was known for her enchanting beauty, her raven black hair, and her dark, mysterious eyes that seemed to harbor secrets of their own. On the night of a full moon, she had gone for a moonlit stroll in the forest, never to return. Her empty house was left as a chilling reminder, the supper she had been preparing still untouched on the table. Rumors and superstitions spread like wildfire. Some believed it was the mountain itself that was to blame, its looming peaks harboring a sinister power that beckoned the lost souls. Others claimed it was the restless spirits of ancient settlers who had met gruesome fates within the mountain's depths. The town's children whispered about malevolent creatures that emerged from the shadowy forest, snatching the unsuspecting under the moon's watchful eye. But one man outsider named Samuel arrived in Silverwood determined to unearth the truth. He was a writer, drawn by the eerie stories and folklore that surrounded the town. With a heart full of curiosity and a backpack full of research materials, he delved into the local history, interviewing elderly townsfolk and scouring old journals. Samuel was an outsider, but his inquisitive nature made him an ally to some who were desperate to reveal the town's sinister secret. As he pieced together the puzzle, he discovered a recurring theme in the stories of the vanished. They all had a connection to a peculiar cavern located deep within the mountain. Known as the Moonlit Abyss, it was said to be an entrance to the heart of the mountain, a place of darkness, danger, and mystery. Samuel became convinced that the Moonlit Abyss held the key to the disappearances. On the night of the next full moon, Samuel prepared to venture into the heart of the mountain. He donned a backpack filled with supplies, lit a lantern, and set off for the cavern. The moon cast an eerie, silver glow upon the landscape as he approached the gaping maw of the abyss. The air grew thick with dread, and the forest's usual nocturnal sounds fell silent as he ventured deeper into the cave. The further he descended, the more oppressive the darkness became. The walls seemed to close in on him, and the ground was treacherous and uneven. He could hear faint whispers echoing in the distance, as if the mountain itself held its breath. The sound was unsettling, but Samuel's determination drove him forward. Finally, after what felt like hours, he reached a vast, underground chamber. The sight that met his eyes was both mesmerizing and horrifying. The cavern was illuminated by an otherworldly light, the source of which was a gigantic, iridescent crystal nestled in the center of the chamber. It pulsed with a malevolent energy, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Samuel realized that the crystal was the heart of the mountain, a source of power older and darker than he could have ever imagined. And it was the source of the vanishings. As he drew nearer, he saw that the crystal was encrusted with countless names and etchings, the names of the vanished etched into its surface. But the most horrifying discovery awaited him. The crystal was alive, in some twisted, ancient way. It thrummed with a malevolent intelligence, and its insidious power reached out, probing Samuel's mind. He was assaulted by visions of all those who had disappeared, their faces twisted in torment, their souls forever bound to the crystal's dark embrace. In that chilling moment, Samuel understood the horrifying truth. The moonlit abyss, the crystal, and the full moon were all connected, conduits of a sinister force that fed on the souls of those who ventured too close. The crystal demanded sacrifices, and the town of Silverwood had paid the price for generations. Desperate to put an end to the curse, Samuel began to recite an incantation he had found in his research, an ancient spell meant to break the crystal's hold. As he chanted, the crystal's pulsating light dimmed, and the voices of the vanished grew louder, their cries mixing with a terrible, inhuman scream. At the culmination of the incantation, the crystal shattered with a deafening, bone-chilling explosion, sending shards of iridescent light in all directions. The force that had held the town in its grip for generations was broken, and the souls of the vanished were released. The moon, no longer obscured by the crystal's influence, bathed the cavern in an ethereal glow. Samuel had saved Silverwood from its curse, but at a heavy cost. The horror of the crystal's malevolence would haunt his dreams for the rest of his life. As the full moon waned, the town of Silverwood slowly returned to normalcy. The disappearances ceased, and the people lived with the knowledge of the dark secret that had lurked beneath their feet for generations. The mountain no longer held its sinister allure, and the tales of the vanished souls became distant memories. But the eerie legend of the moonlit abyss lived on, a haunting reminder of the price that had been paid to break the curse. And as the moon waxed and waned in the night sky, the people of Silverwood couldn't help but wonder if the mountain still held secrets, waiting to be unearthed by the curious or the unfortunate.